The amber glow of Amsterdam's streetlights reflects off the calm waters of the Herengracht Canal, casting eerie shadows on the centuries-old buildings. Marcus van der Meer, a 28-year-old software developer, walks briskly along the cobblestone path, his footsteps echoing through the misty evening air. His life, once defined by coding marathons and casual meetups at local cafes, is about to take a devastating turn. A mysterious email arrives on his smartphone, an invitation to participate in what appears to be an exclusive tech competition hosted by Willem van den Berg, one of the Netherlands' most enigmatic billionaires. The prize, 50 million and a position as the CTO of van den Berg's secretive tech empire. For Marcus, struggling with mounting debts from his failed startup, it seems like a lifeline. The competition venue is van den Berg's private estate, a restored 17th-century castle nestled in the remote polders of North Holland. As Marcus arrives, he finds himself among 11 other contestants, all brilliant minds in their fields. There's Dr. Sophia Chen, a quantum computing expert, Lucas Schmidt, a cybersecurity prodigy, and Eva Kowalski, an AI researcher whose papers Marcus has studied religiously. Willem van den Berg makes his entrance, a tall figure in an impeccable suit, his silver hair and steel blue eyes emanating authority. His welcoming speech sends chills down Marcus's spine. "Welcome to the game of your lives. The rules are simple. Survive the next 72 hours and the prize is yours." The massive oak doors slam shut and the realization hits. This is no ordinary competition. The castle's interior transforms before their eyes. Steel shutters seal the windows, and holographic interfaces spring to life along the walls. Van den Berg's voice echoes through hidden speakers. "Each of you has been chosen for your unique abilities. You'll need them all to survive. The hunt begins at midnight." As panic spreads among the contestants, Marcus notices something disturbing. The guards who escorted them in are now wearing tactical gear, and their ceremonial batons have been replaced with something far more sinister. In the distance, he hears the mechanical whir of surveillance drones taking flight. The other contestants begin to show their true colors. Dr. Chen immediately starts analyzing escape routes, while Lucas attempts to hack into the castle's security system. Ava catches Marcus's eye, and they share a moment of understanding. They need to work together to survive. As the clock approaches midnight, the castle's lighting shifts to a blood-red hue. Van den Berg's final announcement comes through. "Remember, in this game, second place is not an option. May the best survivor win." The sound of hunting hounds barking in the distance marks the beginning of their nightmare. Marcus clutches the small Dutch charm his grandmother gave him for luck, his mind racing to process the situation. He's no longer just a programmer. He's now prey in a billionaire's twisted game of survival. As the first screams echo through the castle's ancient halls, he realizes that his knowledge of code and algorithms might be the only thing keeping him alive in this deadly hunt for sport. The first hours of the hunt unfold like a twisted nightmare. Marcus quickly learns that van den Berg has transformed his ancestral castle into a lethal maze of technological terrors. The once elegant corridors now house motion-triggered weapon systems, while AI-powered drones patrol the courtyards, their infrared sensors cutting through the darkness. Marcus and Ava form an uneasy alliance, using their combined knowledge of programming and AI to stay one step ahead. They discover that van den Berg's security system runs on a complex neural network, one that learns and adapts to their evasion patterns. In a makeshift command center hidden in the castle's wine cellar, they witness the first casualty through the security feeds. Lucas Schmidt, the cybersecurity expert, falls victim to one of the hunter's crossbows while attempting to disable the castle's power grid. The hunters themselves are a specially trained team of ex-military personnel, each equipped with cutting-edge weapons and augmented reality visors. Their leader, a scarred veteran who goes by the Huntmaster, takes particular pleasure in psychologically tormenting the contestants, broadcasting their colleagues' final moments through the castle's speaker system. Dr. Sophia Chen proves to be more than just a quantum computing expert. She's a former Olympic athlete with survival training. She establishes a rival group of contestants, turning the hunt into a three-way game between the hunters, Chen's group, and Marcus's alliance. The castle becomes a battlefield of shifting loyalties and desperate alliances. A shocking discovery in Vandenberg's private study reveals the truth. This isn't the first game he's hosted. Photographs and trophies from previous hunts line the walls, each featuring different groups of brilliant minds from various fields. The billionaire's twisted obsession with combining human intelligence and primal survival instincts becomes clear. He's been conducting these hunts for years, using them to identify not just survivors, but potential lieutenants for his global criminal enterprise. The situation grows more complex when Marcus intercepts encrypted communications between Vandenberg and unknown external parties, wealthy thrill-seekers betting millions on the outcome of the hunt. The entire castle is broadcasting a live feed to an exclusive dark web channel, where the world's most depraved billionaires watch and wager on their survival. As the second night approaches, the hunters deploy chemical weapons in the East Wing, forcing the contestants into increasingly confined spaces. Marcus and Ava's expertise in AI helps them predict the gas dispersion patterns, but they lose contact with three more contestants in the chaos. The sound of their screams mingles with the mechanical whir of drones and the hunters' approaching footsteps. In a heart-stopping moment, Marcus discovers that one of the contestants is actually a planted killer, an actor hired by Vandenberg to eliminate players from within. This revelation comes too late for Ava, who takes a knife wound to the shoulder, while protecting Marcus from the traitor's surprise attack. As Part 02 closes, Marcus finds himself tending to Ava's wound in a hidden passage behind the castle's library, using his coding skills to loop the security camera feeds and mask their location. The hunters are closing in. Dr. Chen's group is planning something big, and Vandenberg watches it all from his control room, a glass of aged whiskey in his hand and a satisfied smile on his face. While hiding in the secret passage, Marcus and Ava's relationship deepens through shared trauma and survival. As he helps clean her wound using a first aid kit stolen from the castle's kitchen, Ava reveals her true identity. She's an undercover journalist who's been investigating Vandenberg's empire for the past 2 years. Her AI research credentials are real, but her purpose in entering the game was to expose Vandenberg's deadly entertainment network. Their intimate conversation is interrupted by Dr. Chen's voice through a jury-rigged communication device she's managed to distribute among the surviving contestants. She proposes a temporary alliance. Her group has discovered something in the castle's underground bunker that could change everything. Despite their suspicions, Marcus and Ava agree to meet, knowing they need more allies to survive. The reunion in the bunker reveals the complex web of relationships among the survivors. Dr. Chen's group includes Maria Voss, a Dutch military intelligence officer who entered the game under the guise of a data scientist, and twins Henrik and Erik Larsen, former Black Hat hackers turned security consultants. The dynamic between them is tense. Maria clearly distrusts the twins, while Dr. Chen maintains control through her natural leadership and strategic thinking. As they share information, personal stories emerge. Henrik reveals that his sister was a victim in one of Vandenberg's previous hunts, explaining his presence in the game. Maria confesses that Dutch intelligence has been building a case against Vandenberg for years, but could never get close enough to gather evidence. Each Revelation adds layers of complexity to their relationships and motivations. The group's dynamic is tested when they discover that one of the hunters is actually Maria's former partner, now corrupted by Vandenberg's money. Her emotional struggle between duty and personal loyalty creates tension within the group, especially when she hesitates during a crucial moment, allowing the hunter to escape with vital information about their location. Marcus finds himself becoming the group's moral compass, his logical programming mindset helping to mediate conflicts and forge stronger bonds among the survivors. His growing feelings for Ava complicate his decision-making, especially when the group must make choices that put her journalism mission at risk. A pivotal moment occurs when they find one of the twins, Eric, attempting to make a deal with the hunters through a hidden communications channel. The betrayal splits the group. Dr. Chen wants immediate execution, Maria argues for imprisonment, while Marcus advocates for using Eric as a double agent. The decision they make will fundamentally alter the group's trust dynamic and their chances of survival. Meanwhile, Vandenberg continues his psychological warfare, broadcasting intimate details about each contestant's life, forcing them to confront their pasts and testing their loyalty to one another. He reveals dark secrets, Dr. Chen's involvement in controversial human trials, Maria's role in a failed military operation, and Marcus's own family's connection to Vandenberg's rise to power. As Part 03 concludes, the group huddles in the bunker, their relationships forever changed by revelations and betrayals. They formed a trauma-bonded family of sorts, but with the hunters closing in and Vandenberg's psychological games intensifying, trust becomes both their greatest asset and their most dangerous liability. The game takes a dramatic turn when the castle's power grid suddenly fails, plunging everything into darkness. The backup generators kick in, but something is different. The security systems are glitching, showing impossible readings. Through the chaos, Marcus realizes that Eric's apparent betrayal was actually part of a sophisticated plan to introduce a virus into Vandenberg's network. In the control room, Vandenberg's composed facade finally cracks. The virus has not only compromised his security systems, but has also started broadcasting the live feed to major news networks instead of the dark web. His exclusive audience of billionaire gamblers frantically disconnect as their identities risk exposure. The hunters, realizing their employer might not be able to protect them anymore, begin to turn on each other. The Huntmaster maintains iron control over half the team, but 3 hunters break away, offering to help the contestants in exchange for immunity from prosecution. A massive explosion rocks the castle's east wing, Dr. Chen's hidden contingency plan. The blast reveals a hidden underground tunnel system dating back to World War II. As smoke fills the corridors, Marcus discovers something that changes everything. Evidence that Vandenberg's son, presumed dead in a skiing accident 5 years. Ego is alive and has been forced to participate in previous hunts. The revelation hits harder when they find Vandenberg's private quarters. Video logs show the billionaire's descent into madness after his son survived one hunt only to be forced into another and another, becoming less human with each game. The true purpose of these hunts becomes clear. Vandenberg isn't just hunting for sport, he's trying to create the perfect survivor, someone capable of inheriting his twisted legacy. Ava's shoulder wound becomes infected, forcing Marcus to make an impossible choice. Continue with the group toward the escape route or risk everything to find medical supplies in the castle's infirmary. His decision is complicated by Dr. Chen's discovery that the virus will only keep the security systems down for 2 more hours. The group splits up, but not as planned. Maria and one of the turned hunters head for the tunnel system to secure an escape route. Dr. Chen, Henrik, and 2 other survivors make for the control room to prevent Vandenberg from regaining control of the castle's systems. Marcus and Ava, against all advice, head toward the infirmary, guided by the Huntmaster's former second-in-command, who claims to know a safe path. As they navigate the castle's now unstable structure, they encounter Vandenberg's son, Lucas, more phantom than human, living in the walls and watching every game his father has orchestrated. His presence adds a new layer of horror to their understanding of the game's true nature. The part ends with multiple crises converging, Ava's condition worsening, the virus's countdown approaching zero, the castle's structural integrity failing. After the explosion, and the terrible realization that Lucas is not the only previous survivor still trapped in the castle's secret spaces. Through a crackling intercom, Vandenberg's voice returns, but this time it's different. No longer the confident game master, but a desperate man watching his life's work crumble. "If I can't have my perfect survivor," he announces, "then no one leaves this castle alive." The sound of multiple explosions in the distance suggests he's willing to bring the entire structure down with everyone in it. The castle groans with the sound of straining steel and cracking stone as Marcus leads his group toward Vandenberg's bunker. The path takes them through the flooded lower levels, where the nearby polder's water is seeping in through damaged walls. The Netherlands' famous water management system, designed to keep the sea at bay, now works against them as the pressure builds. Lucas guides them through a maintenance shaft, revealing that each game's increasing brutality corresponded with his father's declining sanity. The shaft opens into a state-of-the-art command center built 20 meters below sea level. Here they find Vandenberg watching multiple screens, his fingers dancing across holographic controls as he triggers more demolition charges throughout the castle. The confrontation becomes a psychological battle as much as a physical one. Vandenberg, seeing his son alive and working against him, launches into a megalomaniacal monologue about creating the perfect survivor. The room's screens display a grotesque gallery of past games, each more brutal than the last. Marcus, drawing on his programming expertise, works with Henrik via communicator to initiate a complex hack. As Vandenberg rants, Marcus subtly redirects the castle's remaining functional systems. Ava, despite her injury, positions herself to capture everything, ensuring the world will know the truth. The situation escalates when the Huntmaster appears with his remaining loyal hunters, leading to a three-way conflict. The room becomes a chaos of gunfire, hand-to-hand combat, and psychological warfare. Dr. Chen, having escaped the gas-filled control room, arrives through a different entrance with Maria, turning the tide of the battle. The climactic moment comes when Vandenberg, realizing he's lost control, activates the bunker's final failsafe, a complete flooding of the lower levels. Water begins pouring in through dedicated pipes, a twisted insurance policy meant to drown evidence and survivors alike. The choice becomes immediate: stop Vandenberg or escape. Lucas confronts his father in a powerful scene, their conversation revealing the deep psychological damage of the games. Meanwhile, Marcus races against time, using his knowledge of code and systems to override the flooding protocols, while the others engage in a desperate fight for survival. The water rises rapidly as Marcus and Ava work together to transfer all evidence of the games to secure servers worldwide. Vandenberg, in a final act of defiance, reveals that the flooding will trigger a chain reaction, potentially compromising the entire polder's water defense system, threatening not just those in the bunker, but thousands of innocent Dutch citizens. The climax reaches its peak when Marcus realizes the only way to stop both the flooding and Vandenberg is to sacrifice the bunker's power system, trapping everyone inside. The choice becomes clear: risk death to save thousands and ensure justice, or take the safe escape route that Lucas reveals. In the final moments, as water reaches their chests, Marcus implements a solution that showcases both his technical brilliance and his moral growth. The power system overloads spectacularly, but not before Marcus redirects the emergency protocols to seal the flooding and preserve the polder's integrity. The scene ends with Vandenberg finally confronting the monster he's become through his son's eyes as Dutch special forces, alerted by Maria's emergency beacon, begin cutting through the bunker's outer walls. The water stops rising, but they're not saved yet, and Vandenberg still has one final card to play. As the Dutch special forces break through the bunker's walls, Vandenberg reveals his ultimate contingency, a deadman's switch connected to his heartbeat. If he dies, a cascade of explosions will trigger throughout the North Holland Canal system, potentially flooding hundreds of square kilometers of below sea level land. The revelation forces an impossible situation. They must keep Vandenberg alive while finding a way to disable his final trap. Marcus discovers that the switch's system runs on quantum encryption, a failsafe that even his programming expertise can't crack quickly enough. Dr. Chen, however, recognizes the encryption pattern. It's based on her own research, stolen years ago. Lucas, having spent years navigating his father's twisted games, notices something everyone else missed. The paintings in Vandenberg's bunker office aren't just art. They're a physical manifestation of the quantum encryption key, a backup system his father created in case he needed to disable it himself. The realization triggers a frantic race to decode the artwork while keeping Vandenberg stable. Ava, despite her injury, captures everything on her hidden cameras, documenting the intricate connection between art, technology, and madness. The water damage to the paintings adds another layer of complexity to their puzzle, forcing Marcus and Dr. Chen to reconstruct partial sequences from Lucas's memory. A shocking discovery emerges through the decryption process. Vandenberg's wife didn't die in a random home invasion as everyone believed. She was the first victim of his games, an accident that drove him to create increasingly elaborate tests of survival. This revelation shatters Lucas, who realizes his entire life has been built on an orchestrated tragedy. The Special Forces team, led by a commander who recognizes Maria from her military days, provides crucial support, but also complicates matters with their by-the-book approach to hostage situations. The clash between military protocol and the survivors' understanding of Vandenberg's psychology creates dangerous tension. As they work to disable the dead man's switch, Vandenberg begins exhibiting signs of a heart condition. The stress and his obsession have taken their toll. The cruel irony becomes clear. His death would trigger the very destruction he engineered, but saving him means potentially allowing him to escape justice. Marcus, working with Dr. Chen and the twins, realizes that the quantum encryption isn't just a security measure. It's Vandenberg's digital confession, containing data about every game, every victim, and every wealthy spectator who paid to watch. The encryption key in the paintings isn't just about preventing destruction, it's about revealing truth. The part ends with a new crisis. The quantum decryption process is destabilizing the bunker's remaining power systems. They have minutes to choose between securing evidence that could expose hundreds of wealthy criminals or preventing an ecological disaster that would devastate the Netherlands. Above them, the castle continues to collapse, and the first signs of dawn break over the Dutch countryside, bringing with it the national media and the eyes of the world. In the flooded bunker, Marcus executes a brilliant but dangerous solution. Using his knowledge of quantum computing and Dr. Chen's expertise, he creates a feedback loop in the encryption system. Instead of trying to decrypt the data, he forces it to broadcast itself across multiple secure networks simultaneously, making it impossible to contain or delete. The evidence spreads like a digital wildfire across the internet. Details of every game, every wealthy spectator, and every cover-up Vandenberg watches in horror as his empire crumbles in real time, his network of influential supporters abandoning him as their involvement becomes public knowledge. Lucas, finding a strength he never knew he had, helps Marcus reconfigure the dead man's switch, while Dutch engineers race to reinforce the critical points in the canal system. The process requires keeping his father talking, forcing him to confront years of psychological trauma as he helps dismantle his father's legacy. Ava, having broadcast the entire final confrontation, ensures that no amount of money or influence can bury the truth. Her footage shows not just the horror of the games, but the humanity of those who fought to end them. The world watches as the survivors demonstrate that true strength lies not in brutal survival, but in maintaining one's humanity in the face of monstrosity. The final moments in the bunker become a race against both time and human nature. As Vandenberg realizes the full extent of his exposure, he attempts one last, desperate act, trying to trigger the switch manually. The ensuing struggle between father and son becomes symbolic of the battle between humanity and the darkness that drives people to turn survival into sport. The switch is finally disabled moments before the castle's complete structural failure would have compromised the entire polder system. As Dutch authorities swarm the location, the survivors emerge into the dawn light, changed forever, but victorious. The media captures their emergence, not as broken victims, but as heroes who exposed a dark network of wealthy thrill-seekers and saved countless future potential victims. Vandenberg, his empire in ruins, and his son finally free from his influence, faces justice. The evidence secured from his systems leads to a wave of arrests across the global elite, exposing the dark underbelly of wealth and power. His quantum-encrypted confession becomes a key piece of evidence in what the media calls the game trials. 6 months after the events at Vandenberg Castle, the Dutch countryside has healed, but the world has changed. The exposed network of billionaire game spectators has led to unprecedented investigations into illegal blood sports worldwide. The polders around the castle have been restored, and the site itself has been transformed into a memorial for all the victims of Vandenberg's games. Marcus, now heading a cybersecurity ethics foundation, works with international law enforcement to prevent similar underground networks from forming. His experience has transformed him from a code-focused programmer into a passionate advocate for technological responsibility. He frequently consults with tech companies to ensure their security systems can't be perverted for deadly purposes. Ava's documentary about the games becomes a catalyst for global change, winning multiple awards and sparking legislative reform regarding private security forces and billionaire accountability. She and Marcus have maintained their connection, their shared trauma evolving into a deep partnership both professionally and personally. Dr. Chen leads a reformed quantum research initiative, using her expertise to develop security systems that protect rather than harm. The twins, Henrik and Eric, work alongside her, their hacking skills now dedicated to preventing the rise of any similar underground networks. Maria returns to military intelligence with a new mission, heading a specialized unit dedicated to investigating and preventing elite criminal enterprises. Her experience in the castle has made her uniquely qualified to understand how wealth and power can corrupt. Lucas, after extensive therapy, becomes an advocate for survivors of trauma. He transforms his father's former estate into a rehabilitation center for victims of violence, turning a place of horror into one of healing. His testimony proves crucial in the continuing trials of the wealthy spectators who watched and bet on the games. The Huntmaster and the other captured hunters face justice, but their testimonies reveal a broader network of similar games worldwide, leading to ongoing international investigations. Thomas, the hunter who helped them, works with rehabilitation, programs for former military personnel to prevent them from being recruited into similar operations. In a final twist, the quantum encryption data reveals connections to other powerful figures still at large, suggesting that while Vandenberg's game is over, similar threats may still exist. The survivors maintain their network, ready to face any future challenges together. The epilogue ends with Marcus visiting the memorial on a crisp Dutch morning. Among the names of the victims, he finds a new plaque being installed, one that honors not just those who died, but those who survived and fought back. As he stands there, his phone buzzes with an alert from his security system. Somewhere in the world, another game might be starting, but this time, they're ready. The story closes with a powerful message. Survival isn't just about living through horror. It's about ensuring such horrors can never happen again. The real game, the survivors learned, isn't about outlasting others, but about maintaining humanity in the face of inhumanity. In the distance, the Dutch windmills turn peacefully against the sky, a reminder that even in the darkest places, hope and renewal are possible. The Billionaire's game is over, but its impact will echo through time, a testament to the strength of human spirit and the power of unity in the face of evil.